Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Tavishima Ayede. I'm a former lawyer turned business consultant, and what I do here every day is I solve business problems. And today, the question that we're going to tackle is whether you should make sales pitches when talking to prospects. And of course, when we say prospects over here, we mean potential customers or potential clients. Now, the reason why I'm tackling this today is because I've been chatting with people who reach out to me from the podcast, and I guess for those of you who are regular listeners of the show, you already know the opinion that I put out there, which is you should not be making sales pitches. However, when I say that, my heart is in the right place because too many of you are in complex sales, running around making sales pitches and wondering why you're not closing. So, if you're in the solar sales, you're some sort of engineer, you're an architect, you're a consultant, or like this guy, Emmanuel, that we discussed yesterday, who does social media marketing and then stuff like that. So, if you're a social media marketer or you're in solar sales, you're running around making sales pitches and wondering why the thing is not working. It's because you're in a complex sales scenario, and complex sales scenarios are not well suited to pitching, which is the reason why, generally, I say on the podcast that look, don't make any sales pitch. Go in there, be consultative, try and figure out who this person is, try and figure out what they want, try and figure out what the problem is, try and figure out their motivations, and then see how you can align those interests, those problems, those motivations to the things that you offer. So that even if you must make a sales pitch, it won't be at the beginning, it will be somewhere inside. When you've gone inside small, then you can make a sales pitch. But I'm making today's episode just to confess to you guys that, okay, perhaps I've been overzealous and I haven't given you all the whole truth. Yes, there are times when it is okay to make a sales pitch. And today, we're going to explore circumstances where it is perfectly fine to make a sales pitch. Where, in fact, you will be required that as you are entering, you better make sure you have a sales pitch and your sales pitch is locked down and is tight so that you can sell. So, I'm not changing my views though. For most of you listening to the podcast, you should not be making sales pitch. If you're an architect and you have a sales pitch, like sales pitch for what? You're a social media marketer and you have sales pitch. You're a consultant, you have sales pitch. You sell computer, gadgetry and stuff. You sell routers, you sell modems, you sell computers, and then you have sales pitch. For what? So today we're going to look at circumstances where it is cool to have a sales pitch and where it is required that you must have a sales pitch so that you can make that money. Now, if you want to get in touch with me, like other listeners of the podcast have, you can call me, send me a text message or WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140. Then I know that not everybody has 20, 30, 40 minutes to listen to a podcast episode. So you can ask to be a part of my WhatsApp group. I'll add you to the group. And then over there, you're going to get every day 5-page PDF summaries that you can read in less than 3 to 5 minutes. So you can get caught up to speed on the things that we talk about over here every single day on the podcast. So, all right, so let's move. Now, first of all, let's try and define sales pitch. How do I put it now? Okay, whenever people think sales pitch, they're thinking of a collection of words, some magic phrases that once you say is going to be able to get somebody to buy. If that's your idea of a sales pitch, okay, no problem. I'll grant that to you. But since over here on the podcast, I have always taught that sales is a conversation. You are in conversation with people. You're not talking at people. So with that mind frame now, let me just change, or rather, let me, how will I put it? Adopt a definition of a sales pitch this way. So, a sales pitch is when you're in a one sided conversation, and the goal of that conversation is you want to get yes from the other person and nothing else. So, if you're talking at somebody with the goal that the only thing you will hear from their mouth is yes, I'm interested. How much is it? Where do I sign? How soon can we start? Anything that you craft that only anticipates a yes, that is a sales pitch. So, ordinarily, I say you should not make a sales pitch because when you make a sales pitch, remember, sales pitch is you just rolling up on somebody and saying, buy, because I'm the greatest, I'm the best, I'm the fastest, I'm the cheapest, I'm the newest, I'm the this, I'm the this, I'm the that. So, therefore, buy. You should only pitch when you know for sure that the person has a want, the person has a need, the person can afford, and there's a sense of urgency around it. So if you see me, this is a very good example. Although it doesn't happen to me anymore. I think the guy finally has got the point. There's one guy that used to be around my wife's office. Every single time I'll come to pick up my wife, the guy, and half the time I think the guy is drunk anyway because he'll be like, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, this guy, you really gave me the sales pitch yesterday. I said I wasn't going to buy. You're here again. I said I'm not going to buy. Tomorrow you're going to be here. I'm still not going to buy. So there's a time when me and this guy we used to have this conversation, this exchange, at least 2 or 3 times a week. So I think the guy was on drugs or something. But the guy will show up, say Biggie, Baba. Then the guy will start speaking Yoruba. And I'll say, no, I don't understand Yoruba. Then he'll now switch to Pidgin English. And then he'll show me this thing. He will say that the thing is good for jetty jetty, that the thing is good for low sperm count, that the thing is good for hypertension, the thing is good for back pain, the thing is good for, I can't remember, Sha. You just used to call everything. Now, you see, that is a sales pitch. You roll up on a man. The man is a big dude. So, therefore, you assume that he has a need for low sperm count, hypertension, jetty jetty, and back pain. Then you launch into your sales pitch. At the end of it, the only answer that that guy wants to hear is yes. And the whole sales pitch is designed so that somebody will say yes. Low sperm count, Benny. Okay, give me five. So I hope there are no children listening to this podcast, by the way. Okay. So that's a pitch. The person, that guy that used to roll up on me, he always assumed that I had a want, I had a need, I could afford this thing, and there was a sense of urgency. Now, maybe I need this thing because of Jetty Jetty, but maybe I can afford it. Or maybe I need this thing and I can afford it, but I'm like, it's Jetty Jetty, it will pass. What's the big deal? Let me just maintain with this Jetty Jetty. So you see the reason why I say don't make sales pitches. Because every time you make a sales pitch, you're assuming that there's a want, there's a need, the person can afford, and that there's a sense of urgency. So for me, in talking to you guys, the main question has always been how do we know that for sure? We know that for sure if we have a two-sided conversation where you will confirm any of these assumptions. So you roll up on somebody and say, Biggie, how far now? You say, I'm good. You the way for Madam Abi? Say, correct. You be correct husband. May God bless you. May God bless you. Say, bros, I beg no vex. I say, as you know, you don't fool. You're a large guy. Then we'll laugh. You say, you have hypertension. You have blood pressure issue. Try and like engage first. You get confirm your assumptions before you make a sales pitch. Now, let's forget this guy and let's forget complex sales. There are some situations where sales pitches can work. And in fact, in these situations that I'm about to list out, I would recommend not only that you have a sales pitch, but that you have so practiced your sales pitch and really drilled this thing into your head that you cannot get it wrong. I repeat, I'm about to look at some situations now where I would recommend that you have a sales pitch. And not only that you have a sales pitch, you have memorized this sales pitch, you have internalized this sales pitch, you have digested this sales pitch. This sales pitch is a part of you. Like if you're sleeping and I slap you upside the head and I say, give me your sales pitch, you will just repeat it like that, word for word. So, yes, there are situations where you need a sales pitch. So, for modern consultative selling, it has to be a two-way conversation, two-way discovery. But then there are situations where you are the one who has to control the airtime. And in fact, the last one I saw was a lady. She's based in America, where they do is it telesales or sorry, not telesales. I can't remember. I think is it QVC or something like that. There's a channel where all they do on that channel is they sell stuff. So the presenter will come on TV and say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, all across America. Today, blah 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 blah. I have the Noble YB 360 headset. It's immaculate sound quality, something something, USB 3, blah blah blah. So if you're in that kind of role now, we don't have QVC or any of those trading things in Nigeria, okay? But in Asia, people are already selling, doing those kinds of things over on the internet. America, the thing is already kind of picking up. I'm still waiting to see if that kind of culture will enter Nigeria, especially since we're beginning to have, we're beginning to pick up, get more content producers on things like Twitch. So if you're in that situation, you need your sales pitch to be locked down. You can't be on camera and then be trying to figure out, what will I say about these earphones? What will I say about this headphone? What will I say about this computer? In fact, there's nobody there for you to talk to anyway. So your sales pitch had better be nailed down flat to increase the chances that you will close the sale. Because you're on this live TV video kind of shopping format. People are there watching and expecting to buy something if they see something interesting. And you have to be on point. So in that case, you do need a sales pitch. There's no other person to talk to. So apart from that, there are some situations that are high volume and low complexity. Those are simple sales scenarios that I talk about. So in business to consumer situations like retail, for instance, or direct response. Direct response is just how do I put it now? When you put out your message, and the whole point of the message is to get somebody to take action right now. So those of you who create flyers, and on your flyer you say 25% off between now and December 15th. That kind of thing. That's direct response. You're expecting that anybody who calls from the flyer, the person just wants to. All you're expecting is the person will say, "Is the promo on? Yes." Or yeah, give me 5. Is the promo on? Yes. Or yeah, give me 2. Is the promo on? Yes. Or yeah, give me 15. That's direct response. So, if the product is simple, if the product is universal, as per everybody knows it, that's the reason why I keep using Egusi. Everybody knows Egusi. That's a simple sales scenario. Everybody knows Egusi. You can't miss it. And then a low price point, low price point. Sorry. So commodities, kitchen gadgets, stuff like that. You had better get your sales pitch down. So if you sell commodities, you need your sales pitch. Like today, we're in the market, and wifey was she saw what's this thing called Brazilian nuts. So she was like, "Bro, should be this one a Brazilian nuts?" The guy said yes, and then the guy launched into the sales pitch. That kind of situation, you need your sales pitch ready. By the way, I didn't know those things were expensive. The guy said it's 80,000 naira a bag for Brazilian nuts. By the way, so if you sell Brazilian nuts, you need your sales pitch down flat. So that if a woman walks up to you, a man walks up to you to say, Sir, you get Brazilian nuts. You launch your sales pitch immediately. I know that it's expensive, 80,000 naira, but it is still a commodity that you can buy in the open market. The same thing with kitchen gadgets. Somebody walks up to you in the market, you sell blenders, you need your sales pitch on you. This is not the time to do qualification and discovery to say, Madam, what kind of thing are you cooking? Blah, 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 blah. The person say you get blender, you launch into your sales pitch. Yes, ma, I have blender. This is the high sense. Blah, 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 blah. Something, so, your sales pitch. And this one took us. No problem. We have Panasonic, something, something, blah, blah, blah. You just have your sales pitch ready. If it is high sense, you have your sales pitch. Panasonic, you have your sales pitch. Thermocool blender, you have your sales pitch. We've already spoken about infomercials. Yes, infomercials are like on QVC in America. Those are infomercials, yeah. And then also, when you're at a trade booth, well, I'll prefer you try and do some qualification and discovery. Somebody comes to the trade booth, I'll prefer you engage with them and try and have a conversation. But if you have your sales pitch, it will not be bad that you practice ahead of time so that they come to the booth, you give your sales pitch. But just know this: whenever you're giving your sales pitch, the focus is on impulse conversion. Like we're trying to get them to move now. Impulse now, like feeling. Inspire the feeling. Get some FOMO. They move now, 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 sharp, sharp, sharp. So it's not about discovering the person's needs or anything like that. So for those sorts of situations that we've just discussed now, you need a sales pitch. In fact, rehearse your sales pitch. So before you go for Lagos International Trade Fair or Abuja West Africa International Trade Fair or whatever, yeah, rehearse your sales pitch. I would prefer that you still try and engage somebody in conversation. But if you have sales pitch that you just be launching into, it won't be bad. It won't be bad. Then there are some industries where you give standard presentations, one person to many. So one person is on stage talking to 20, 30 people. Now, I mentioned that I sold financial products briefly, insurance in particular. This is one of the things that our orgas used to recommend for us. You go into an organization where you suspect people are about to retire, you try and hook up a meeting, a presentation where you get to present to all these people. So, for that kind of thing now, one to many presentation, you need your sales pitch nailed down. It is not this morning of the presentation that you be thinking, what am I going to say to these people? So for those kind of presentations, if there's a presentation happening today, excuse me, in fact, your sales pitch, you probably have settled, you should have settled your sales pitch like 2 or 3 months ago. Like you have refined it, you've been using it, you know what works, like you've memorized it. Any time of the day, anytime anybody catch you, like you can repeat it word for word. It's like saying they are our father. So for those presentations, your sales pitch needs to be locked down. Webinars. If you're delivering a webinar online, it's not as if you can do qualification and discovery because it's a webinar. There's you, and then there's 400 other people on the other end. You need to have practiced your sales pitch well. So that if from the webinar you're trying to get people to drop their email address, you need to practice your sales pitch so that what you will get is an overwhelming amount of yes. So that if there are 400 people there, maybe 250 of them will drop their email address. You need to have practiced your sales pitch well. So that if the goal is you want people to buy your ebook or to buy your whatever, then people will move. Some of you play this webinar game, but you don't do that part well. You're going for the webinar. What will be your sales pitch? You don't know. Have you prepared the sales pitch? No, you haven't. What should be going into a sales pitch? Oh, I don't know. I've never done any research. So if webinars and keynotes and things like that are a big part of your business, you need a sales pitch. You should have memorized your sales pitch. You should have been working out your sales pitch since. Tidied up all the kinks, everything. So, in those kinds of situations, yes, you need a sales pitch. If you're presenting to 10, 15, 20, 30, 100, 1,000 people, you need a sales pitch because you can't even do um, individual discovery. You can't talk to people one on one. So, for webinars, for keynotes, for even say for political rally, because in political rally, now sales pitch now, you start with the whole thing of this is the problem. From there, you go to this is the solution. From there, you show them proof, and then you now make your offer. So, if it's political rallies, it's the same thing. This is the problem. This is where we are in Nigeria. Oh, I have the solution. Renewed hope. Blah 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 blah. Oh, proof. This is how we've made it work. When I was governor in Lagos. Blah 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 blah. Vote for me. Vote for renewed hope. That's a sales pitch. If you're selling insurance, it's the same thing. You stand on stage. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for taking the meeting today. The reason why I'm here is there's a problem. The problem is a lot of you are about to retire. And unfortunately, nobody at work or nobody in the government or nobody in church or whatever has prepared you for the challenges that you're going to face in retirement. When you retire and you no longer have a steady source of income, these are going to be some of the problems with children's responsibilities, with medical bills, and blah, 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 blah. And God forbid, we also have to do estate planning. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the solution in front of you. I am from so and so company. These are the products that we offer. These products take care of this, these products take care of this product take care of that. So you don't need to worry. If you're a 65-year-old woman about to retire, you have this medical condition, this and that, but you still want to be able to do some legacy planning so that God forbid, if the time God calls you, there'll still be something for your children. So if you're interested, at the back of the hall, my colleague is over there, Chukudi. Just go and see Chukudi, put your name down with Chukudi. Then Chukudi and I will start calling you from tomorrow so that we can help you craft the perfect plan so that we'll solve all these your problems, so that medical bills will be taken care of. You don't need to worry also about feeding, and then we'll also be able to come up with a plan so that, God forbid, if the time comes, your children will also be taken care of. So thank you very much for your time. What questions do you have for me? You answer one or two questions, you demonstrate that you are you're the professional. And then you summarize again, and then the same thing. Chukudi is at the back of the hall. Go and drop your phone number with him now. Or if you want, I'm here on my business card. Well, come and take business card. Come and take business card. In fact, I'm not in a rush. When we finish this presentation, apart from Chukudi, I'll be here at the beginning of the hall, just in case you have questions you want to ask me in private. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Then you end. That's sales pitch. So you sell insurance, you sell whatever it is you sell. You cannot wait until that day to start thinking, hey, what will I say to these people? You need to have figured out your sales pitch 3, 4 weeks ago. You need to have researched your sales pitch. You need to have discussed with Chukudi or whoever it is that is your colleague how you guys are going to work the room. Is it that he'll be at the back of the room, or as you're talking, he'll be moving from left to right, maybe with clipboard or something? Then you also need to talk to your sales manager, because your sales manager has been doing that job longer than you. So the guy will give you tips about, hooks that work, the way that you start the sales pitch, how you frame the problem, how you frame the solution, how you show proof, how you craft the offer. So if you're in these kind of situations, you're presenting one to many, you need a sales pitch. You don't have a sales pitch in this context, I'll say you're not serious. Then let's see what else. Product launch demos. So like what's his name now? This guy Apple. This Apple guy. What's his name now? This late guy Steve Jobs. So whether we like it or not, those things were rehearsed. A sales pitch, and those things were rehearsed, whether we like it or not. 1,000 songs in your pockets. Blah 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 blah. Those things were rehearsed, and the structure was the same. This is the problem. This is the solution. This is the proof. Ta-da! Here it is. And then this is the offer for $600 only. The brand new iPhone. That's a sales pitch. So you're going to be doing stuff like Steve Jobs, be launching stuff on stage and this and this and that and that. You need a sales pitch. You need to plan this pitch. You need to practice this pitch. You need to refine this pitch. You need to talk to your manager. You need to talk to some stakeholders. You need to figure this thing out. This thing must work. Because if you go on stage, you fumble, nobody will buy. Nobody buys, it's a problem because we get paid to sell. Then there are some industries that, even though I would prefer you do qualification and discovery, unfortunately, some of these things are high risk. And so, because of compliance and legal issues, there are specific things you must say. So, like in franchising and then in pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. So, in pharmaceuticals, there are some things you must tell them. The side effects of this thing include nausea, vomiting, headache, backache, side ache, ankle swelling, this, that, blah, 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 blah. Not to be used for pregnant women and children under the age of 16, something, something, So you are bound by law. Okay, well, not bound by law, but you are bound in best practice to tell people all these things so that nobody will come back and say, no, he didn't tell me. Oh." In that kind of situation, you need a pitch. So all these exceptions, be exemptions, and all the whatever, you need to have memorized all those things. So if you're pharmaceuticals, you don't tell them read the pamphlet. You use your own mouth and you say not to be used for pregnant women or children under 16. If it is used for men who are over 45, side effects include swelling of the leg, your lips will turn pink, this disease, that, and irregular heart condition. Memorize it, say it, give your pitch. Legal disclosure, give the disclosure. Any statement of risk, give the statement of risk. But of course, you don't stop there. You also have to memorize your key value proposition. This product is designed to stop the spread of cerebrospinal meningitis in children at stage 1, 2, 3, 4, at the protein, whatever development of children, and something, something. Like memorize the whole thing. Give your pitch. You can't wait until you're in front of the doctor or you're in front of a distributor or you're in front of a stakeholder, from uh, I don't know from where. Who are these people? These people that regulate food and drugs, NAFDAC. And you now start wondering, excuse me, now start wondering, what are you going to say? You need to have memorized this thing well ahead of time. In that situation, you need your pitch, your sales pitch, the different versions of your sales pitches, all stored in your head. Then, when you're dealing with, when you're coming up with a new product, this thing hasn't existed before. Like people who are coming up with AI tools for enterprise. You know, in this case, you have to make a sales pitch because it's not as if people know what this thing is. So you're the one telling them this is what this thing can do for you. So launching ChatGPT and all these whatever, nobody was doing qualification and discovery with us. Nobody. Because if you ask us, what do you want, what do you need, like we won't know. So in the beginning of rolling out all these AI tools, the companies were telling us, here it is. This is the answer to all your problems. Create videos now in less than 5 seconds. Oh, here it is. Write your PhD thesis in less than 20 minutes. Or here it is, your solution to creating content. You can now create 150 pieces of content every single day without leaving your desk. So there was no qualification and discovery. They were the ones telling us this is the thing, this is what it is, this is what it can do for you. I have the best things in sliced bread. So download now. So when you've created a new concept, you've created a new idea, yeah, you have to pitch because the prospect, the people, they don't realize what this thing is yet and how it can solve their problem or if they have a problem. Then there are situations where, like in the boardroom, for instance, like if you're dealing with RFPs, requests for proposal, I would still prefer that you still try and ask some kind of question when you get in there. But by the time you get into the boardroom, yeah, you are expected to make some kind of pitch. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We're here today, blah, blah, blah. This is the whatever, whatever, whatever is the greatest, is the best, is the fastest, is the smoothest. And this is why you should buy for us today. What questions do you have? What questions do you have for me? So they are expecting a pitch. But please, here, I would recommend that you tweak it small. Go and ask some questions first. The questions you ask is, first of all, try and confirm who is in the room and try and confirm that you understand the nature of the problem. So the scope should be, well, thank you very much for taking the meeting. It's my assumption that all of us are gathered here today because this business is facing this problem, this problem, this problem, and these are the kinds of results that we're trying to achieve. Well, Mr. Chukudi, I noticed that you're from finance department. Will you say this is how it affects finance? You hear what Mr. Chukudi has to say. Oh, okay. Madam Desiani, what are you people in operations? What, then, what of you in legal? What of you in IT department? Like that. You pull them out small, engage in conversation. From the things that they now say, that pitch you've crammed in your head, you will now know that, oh, this part of the pitch, don't say it. This part of the pitch, emphasize it. This part of the pitch, delete it. So that if you have a PDF with you, you will now say, oh, okay, good. Since we are already in agreement about this, we can skip the first 5 slides and let us go straight to slide 7, where if you notice, blah, 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 blah. So if you ask me, that is how I will beg you, excuse me, to handle the boardroom pitch. Go in there, ask some questions, confirm who is here, confirm, are we all thinking the same? Do we, are we in agreement? Do I really understand the problem? Do I really understand what you're trying to achieve? Then once you've confirmed, you will now go into the documents. Don't really go in and start reading your PDF, make your sales pitch from page 1 all the way to page 22. But just so you know, yes, if you do go there and you have a well crafted and rehearsed sales pitch and you deliver it, go bad. Like they're expecting that. So, um, sorry that this is not very organized today, but the point I'm just trying to make is that there are scenarios where you are expected to have a sales pitch. And in fact, if you're a salesperson and in that scenario you don't have a sales pitch, you're not doing your job. But outside of those sales scenarios, what I say still stands, that in most cases, for those of us who are in complex sales, you should be having conversations with people to try and figure out if they have a want, if they have a need, if they can afford the damn thing, and if there's a sense of urgency before you launch into a sales pitch. If not, you end up like that, my guy. That's at my wife's office. I hope he's doing okay. Come to think of it, I haven't seen him this year. We're already in August. So the guy that is always coming to me, he say, hey, Biggie, Egbon. Then we start with Yoruba. And I'll say, no, I don't speak Yoruba. Then he'll switch to Pidgin. Jetty, low sperm count, back pain, hypertension, swelling leg. This. The guy says the thing can even cure, because I wear glasses. He says the thing can even cure your eyesight. So if not, you end up like that guy, always making sales pitches to people who don't want, people who don't need, people who can't afford, people who don't have any sense of urgency. And the problem with doing that is, instead of talking to somebody, shouting eggball, shouting bros up and down, hoping that you make a sale, you could have just cut this thing out entirely and moved on to another person who is most likely going to buy. So, apply some wisdom. Think about it. In my own situation, my own business, my own context, my own industry, my whatever, do I need a sales pitch? If you do, then yeah, start preparing. For those of you who are employees, your line manager and your senior colleagues are very, very, very handy resources. So don't shy away from it. Use it. Okay, I'm making presentation tomorrow. I'm making the presentation at Redeemed Church. The deaconess was able to get me to go and make presentation to them. But okay, I beg, before I go, I just need some tips. This is how I want to do my presentation. This is how I want to do my sales pitch. Well, line manager, what do you think? Listen to what your line manager says. Then you look at 2 or 3 other people that you respect. You also go and meet them. Sister, I beg, I'm making presentation in 2 weeks. Redeemed Church of God. This is why I have in mind. So, sister, what do you think? How do you do your own pitch? How do you craft the offer? How do you even start the meeting? So, for those of you who are employees, all these people that have walked this path before you, you get some good advice there. So that's it, and that's all for today. Thank you very much for your time and attention. If you want to connect with me, call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080 64662140. If you don't have time to listen to 30-minute episodes, ask to be joined to the WhatsApp group. I'll do that, and then you get PDFs every single day, not more than 5 pages. And of course, it's not going to take you more than 5 minutes to read it. If you're a quick reader, you can be done in 45 seconds, 1 minute. You get the full scope of the podcast, the key points, the key takeaways, and then all of that. So thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you all some other time.